Let's be honest, a lot of gamers are probably intrigued by Yumia's. And Koei Tecmo knows exactly what they're doing when it comes to fan service. But beyond that, there's a mix of highs and lows you need to know before deciding if this game is for you, including some details I haven't seen anyone else mention that might turn you off from buying it. Plus, I'll let you know if this is a good entry into the Atelier series, especially if past games felt too intimidating for you to dive into. Thank you Koei Tecmo for the game code. By the way, all my footage is from early on from the game, so nothing is gonna be spoiled for you, and this is captured on my PlayStation 5. You can also buy the game on Switch, Steam, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X and S, and Xbox One. So the gameplay is broken down into 3 different categories. You've got your exploration, your combat, and your synthesis. With exploration being my favorite part, you have so much to discover and do, which might feel a little bit overwhelming, especially when you first open up the map and you see how massive it is with so many question marks scattered around. Accompanying you is a set of tools that will come in handy, so you'll have different ways to navigate the world. You can get a bike, you can use zip lines, you can double jump on walls, you can use your gun to activate ladders, you can squeeze your way into tiny spaces, crouch, which is gonna give you a very tailored POV, and you can remove certain obstacles. Some things will be locked in the beginning, so you might try and access them, but you're not gonna be able to because you need to wait until you unlock the relative tools for them later on. Yumia's world has a bit of that, Breath of the Wild experience where you have various puzzles to solve, which are very easy to solve. You know me, I freaking hate puzzles, so I can safely say these puzzles were very interesting but also very easy. And you have praying shrines to unlock where you follow these red paths to activate their parts. You've got these chests that are scattered around. You've got some secret rooms that can only be accessed by using certain keys that you're gonna find by unlocking the chests. And you also have these lock chest mechanisms, some of which need you to take down a boss. Others are gonna need your gun to shoot down these little cubes to activate the chest and unlock it. You're also gonna come across random quests which reward you when you complete them. So you might need to, let's say, take down a horde of enemies, or you might need to help villagers build specific things or maybe synthesize certain items for them. There's a lot to do here, and I feel like the developers implemented the Witcher 3 10-second rule. Every 10 seconds you feel like there's something new to do, and I found that very fun and addictive. Every 2 seconds I'm just like, oh, squirrel, and I just want to go run and do something else when I'm actually supposed to just focus on the freaking story, but it was too difficult for me to do. And of course, you can gather materials to use for alchemy, which brings us to the synthesis. And I feel like this was the easiest out of all the other Atelier games that I've played, which are Sophie 2 and Ryza, but I think the one in Mary Remake was a bit easier than this one. Anyways, what is synthesis? This is your way of crafting items, and in Atelier games, your input as a player plays a major role. So it's not like other cozy or farming games, if you're familiar with those, or maybe other RPGs if you're familiar with that, where you can just gather the materials and click craft and that's it, you've got your item. Here you enter this synthesis screen and you can choose what type of core you want to use, and then you're gonna assign different ingredients to the nodes and gather resonance, which will determine the quality of the item. If the screen and menu it feels a little bit too complicated and it scares you, you can use the automatic feature and choose what you want to prioritize in your final product, be it the quality or the effect, or you can even customize the settings and prioritize what you want manually. When you start playing, your ingredients are not going to be high quality, but eventually you're going to unlock the skill tree with the exploration, synthesis, and combat categories. So you can unlock various skills like gathering better quality items to gaining more XP when fighting enemies, as well as having more space in your exploration bag, etc. Speaking of exploration bags, you can use simple synthesis when you are out and about, where you craft things on the spot without entering the synthesis screen. Then each item is going to take a certain amount of squares in your bag, so you can rotate them around and you have like this mini Tetris-like gameplay mechanic to fit things in. So you can make things like ammo for your gun, smoke bombs to flee battles, camping sites, bandages to heal your party, and more. You'll also come across these geysers or gazers, I don't know how you say that, when you're exploring, which will then let you use the recipe recall station back in your base to unlock new recipes, or if you already unlocked the recipe, then you can enhance it and make it become better. When exploring, you're also going to notice that you are going to run out of energy, be it through using simple synthesis, walking around mana-bound areas, or jumping off high areas. This can be replenished by using the machine back in the base, or you can interact with these mechanisms or even touch these flowers to refill a portion of it. As you wander around, you're gonna see these hordes of enemies and bosses. They're gonna chase you, so you can avoid them, but if you want, and of course you should, you can smack them, or when you run into them, you're gonna start combat mode. And if you love action RPGs, this is gonna be the best entry point for you in the Atelier series because you don't have turn-based combat here. In combat, you have different actions designated to your triangle, square, circle, and X buttons if you're using a PlayStation pad, and each one has a set amount of uses which you can see under the action name. Once you use up all the bars, the action will go into cooldown, so you can use the other skills until it refills back up. You can stun the enemy, you can evade attacks and change your position, you can also move around, you can even move between the inner and outer ring, which will give you a new set of skills depending on where you are. You're also going to unlock friend actions through the combat skill tree, and you can use it during battles when an enemy is stunned. You can also unlock new characters to join your adventure, which means you can control them in combat and use their skills to your advantage. Once the battle is over, you gain XP, and whenever you level up, you get this cute little screen to show you all the stats that the characters have had received. I explain a lot more about these mechanics more in depth in my 50+ beginners tips and tricks video, which I'm gonna pin for you in the comment section. Now, as you saw in the trailers, an addition to Atelier Yumia is building, from making floors to walls, boulders, chimneys, pillars, furniture, decor, and more. You can rotate items and place them in your atelier. However, the controls are not the best. They're so janky, and we're gonna talk more about them in the controls segment of this video. As you unlock new landmarks, you set up new bases. If you're like me and you don't want to build them from the ground up, the game gives you the chance to use presets, or you can use the randomize option and then re-roll to choose what you want your building to look like. You're gonna visit different merchants and use the barter system to unlock new decoration items. With the new regions comes something called pioneering effort. This is a set of quests you fulfill in each region to increase your pioneering progress and unlock rewards. To complete these, you're gonna have to visit the survey base and redeem them, which I found as an added step that is just unnecessary, so I don't know why can't I just redeem them from the radial menu. Anyways, completing these is fairly simple. These are like small requests like place an item here, create X, Y, and Z, defeat this boss, or use this item. With that said, there are a few issues that you should know before you decide if this game is the one for you. But before we get into that, hello you gorgeous human being, it's Miss Bubbles. If this video is helpful for you so far, consider supporting me either through coffee or by becoming a YouTube channel member, where you're gonna get a lot of perks in return, or simply squish the like and subscribe buttons to encourage the YouTube algorithm to push the video to more people who might be interested in Atelier Yumia. So as you progress through the game, you're gonna notice that you're always being sent to different places to discover hidden ruins or lakes or caves or whatever it may be. You're gonna sit through some dialogue, then fast travel back to base to report and sit through even more dialogue. Sometimes you're gonna be doing a lot of these, and again, sitting through so much dialogue before you reach any new fulfilling twist and turn in the storyline. I was okay with this, but I know many of you love an epic story with twists and turns every hour or so it's important for you to know that this game is more of a slow burn. Another thing you should be aware of course, I know a lot of people complain about the fan service in the game. I think Yumia and the cast look amazing, but many of you are gonna be bothered by the camera angles that the game is gonna push, so if you don't like that, this game is probably not gonna be for you. Another issue is from the camera, where it's gonna clip into things and move in annoying ways when I'm crouching. There's also the issue where the camera just feels like it's having seizures in tight places, which was just annoying. And if you're like me and you suffer from motion sickness, this is bound to catch you off guard and it's gonna give you headaches after long play sessions. Building, oh my god, that is the jankiest of them all, which is a shame because I was hoping that this game will invite me to build, but the controls just feel unintuitive and weird. I also don't like that we don't focus on one base. You're gonna be building different ones in different regions, and that really killed any motivation for me to spend any time decorating or building, because I'm like, well, I'm gonna have 569 others, so might as well not put any effort into it. It's also important to note that while I have not had any bugs in my 25 hours of game time so far, a lot of my content creator friends have reported to me many of them, so be aware of that. We're also gonna quickly touch touch on the story while keeping things as usual spoiler-free. What happens here? Yumia becomes a part of a research team. She is investigating something. Now, she lost her mother in an accident and she discovers that she is an alchemist. However, in this game, alchemy is a forbidden act. It's seen as evil. But Yumia is asked to use her abilities in this new research team for specific reasons. So here you are guiding her and her friends, and that's all I'm gonna share about the story. And I know many of you were worried about the game being too dark based on a community post that I made asking you if you're excited about Atelier Yumia. To put you at ease, yes, there are definitely some twists and turns in the story, but it's not as dark as the trailers paint it to be. I even asked my JRPG creator friends who finished it, and they said even though it is a bit darker than Ryza at times, it's not that bad and you're still gonna enjoy the wholesomeness of an Atelier game that is rooted in the power of friendship and, you know, the friendships that you make along the way. And while speaking of the story, we have excellent Japanese voice acting. There was a lot of speculation whether this entry might have enough maybe money to have an English dub, but it doesn't. I personally prefer to have an English dub because I am Lebanese. English is not my first language. Who would have thought? So when there are cutscenes, sometimes it's very hard for me to keep up with what the cast is saying, but there are other dialogue sections that are a lot easier for me because you can choose when to advance the dialogue. But when it comes to the dialogue that the cast is having when they're exploring, 9 out of 10 times I completely missed everything that they're saying. The music is excellent with ups and downs in the beat, and it makes combat, exploring, the storytelling, and everything else come together perfectly. The sound effects also add to the immersion, and I love the UI here, especially when you want to save or equip things or change your party composition. It just feels so cute and interactive having the characters look at you.
こちらに通路が続いているようです。ありがとう。行ってみよう。
So we talked about the good and not so great, but the question is Atelier Yumia the game for you? We're gonna go with this game is for you if, not for you if, and my verdict. Atelier Yumia is the game for you if you are new to the Atelier franchise and you're looking for an easy entry to get into it. It's also for you if you love a game that has different gameplay mechanics to engage you, with a map that is full to the brim with things to do. It's for you if you love stories with the emphasis on the power of friendship, and you're not turned off by having characters with the typical JRPG personality trope. It's also for you if you love live combat that is fun and interactive, and if you love playing a bigger role in crafting through the synthesis system provided here. It's also for you if you like to pet that dog, you know, you should buy it. And it's for you if you are a completionist and you love ticking things off a checklist, be it through the quests or question marks on the map or pioneering effort or unlocking all synthesis recipes, etc. However, this game is not for you if you only enjoy previous Atelier titles with turn-based combat and more straightforward exploration, or if you love the time limitations, because all of these are not available here. It's also not for you if you hate maps with so many things to do, kind of like the Ubisoft map treatment. I love those, but I know a lot of people hate it, so you're gonna have loads of question marks to tick off. It's also not for you if you want this super dark story with a narrative that is full of twists and turns every 20-30 minutes that's gonna keep you on your toes. It's not like that. And it's also not for you if you hate fan service of Atelier games, because there is a lot of here. As for me, you know that this has been one of my most anticipated games of 2025, and so far it doesn't disappoint. Yeah, there are like a few things that I wish were done better, but for the most part, this has been a really enjoyable experience. Even though it can feel a little bit overwhelming at first with all the question marks, I now have a system where I'm gonna do a bit of a story, then explore, then do it a little bit more of a story, and this gameplay loop has me hooked, and I feel like there's always something happening. The world is beautiful, the voice acting is so good, and I cannot wait to finish this ASAP. I do wish that the building was a little bit more intuitive. I hope that they fix the camera issues because that is causing me insane headaches. With all that said, I compiled over 50 tips and tricks that will walk you through a little bit more of the game, things that I wish I knew before I started, so you can check it out right here. Thank you to my bubbly patrons and YouTube members who make videos like this possible, and a shout out goes to the Game Dimension, Jake, Logan, and Will for going the extra mile. Until next time, stay bubbly.